Oh, this is Mr. Hornsby 3. This is the Mr. Hornsby 3 show. And today, even though X-Men month is over, I'm going to be talking about, because 2 trailers came out after I ended X-Men month. The first trailer for season 2 of X-Men97, which I talked about in one of my videos. And then the trailer we got, what was it, Saturday? The trailer we got Saturday for the roll call. So I'm going to talk about those. Not only that, I am going to rank every single Apocalypse episode from every single X-Men cartoon that had Apocalypse, which was the 90s animated series, Evolution, Wolverine and the X-Men, and 97. So, yeah, you guys get to see. And there might be Apocalypse episodes that take place elsewhere. But first off, I gotta say, I posted up my thing on what I had planned for this week. I posted it Saturday because I went to the Weird Al concert last night with my son for Father's Day. So that's why I posted it Saturday. I didn't get home till like frickin' after midnight. But it was an awesome concert. It was a pretty awesome concert. It was great to see Weird Al in person. And, you know, I laughed as hard as I ever laughed ever at a concert. Usually at concerts you're just there to enjoy the music, but, you know, it's Weird Al, so you're going to laugh at the songs. But, yeah, so I did like it. It's up there on par with the Korn concerts I've been to. I think it's as good as the Korn concerts I've been to. But the Korn concerts I've been to never made me laugh as hard as the freaking Weird Al concert did last night. So, anyway, so let's start out with the second trailer that just came out Saturday. Then we'll talk about the first trailer and all that stuff. And then I'll get into the ranking of the Apocalypse episodes. I'm pretty sure next year for X-Men month, we're going to have a bunch of Apocalypse episodes to rank next year, because 97 season 2 is going to be based mostly all about Apocalypse, so we'll see. Anyway, so let's go into the second trailer, which is a roll call trailer, which got me more excited for season 2 of X-Men 97 than, you know, the first trailer did. Because the first trailer really didn't give you too much. Pretty much gave you the same stuff that you kind of got in the leaked trailers. But this one shows a lot. It shows the X-Men fighting like different enemies. It shows Apocalypse and Magneto get ready to go at it. It shows all the main characters for this season, which is like a lot of characters. There's going to be a ton of characters in this. You got Strong, you got the X-Force team, the X-Factor team, Generation X looks like they're going to play a part in it. The regular X-Men team, X-Corp, all that stuff's going to be a part of this season. Now, some people have already gotten the first 4 episodes of season 2. I've seen their reviews, and pretty much the reviews are pretty positive. Everybody gave it a good review. They didn't spoil anything. They did like non-spoiler reviews of it, so you didn't get nothing too spoiled except for stuff you know, like, you know, all the X-Men being, you know, in different points in time. So they didn't give away no big plot details or nothing like that. But why are these people getting it? Why do these people get it? I can understand why Grace Randolph got it, you know, maybe some other big YouTuber channels on this platform got the first 4 episodes, but why did a bunch of people get it? And why wasn't I a part of those bunch of people? Heck, I've been freaking talking about an X-Men animated series ever since Fox got bought out by Disney. So, and I freaking have praised this show. I've talked about all the old X-Men episodes and everything. So why couldn't I get the first 4 episodes? I would have reviewed them and not spoiled them. But, you know, I don't know. It is what it is. So, yeah. So, anybody at Disney, if you watch this, please send me the first 4 episodes. I want to watch first. I cannot wait till July 1st. It's too freaking long, especially since we've waited over a freaking year to get season 2. Apparently season 3 is coming out directly next year, and season 4 is coming out the year after that. So we'll just have to wait and see. Will this show make it to a season 5 like the original run did? Who knows? we'll have to see. Can they keep up what they're doing with these X-Men shows? Who knows? But will this show get a season 5 like the freaking 90s cartoon did? We know 3 and 4 is coming. I think it also depends on the reception to this season, and then it depends on the reception to next year's season. You know, so we'll see. But man, I'll tell you what, seeing Apocalypse battle freaking Magneto, and you know, that's like toward the end of the trailer. He's just like freaking. We also see Morph transforming into Silver Samurai fighting Sabretooth. Mainly because probably Sabretooth, because there's a point where you see Sabretooth and Lady Deathstrike are helping, so maybe, you know, Morph is trying to convince them to help Wolverine get his adamantium back. So it's the fact that, you know, Morph's in love with Wolverine, and, you know, Wolverine's feral, and they did show Wolverine feral in this freaking trailer, the season 2 trailer that just came out Saturday. And we see, yeah, like I said, we see a lot of the X-Men fighting. We see a lot of battles going on. So, let's hope that they do, you know, let's hope this show does do good. But yeah, we see the X-Men doing a lot of battling in this one. Unlike the first one where it's like it's Rogue talking about how, you know, she thinks about what's not waiting for her. And that's Gambit, because he died in episode 5, which is the best episode of freaking x-men97. Season 1 so far. I'm pretty sure something in this freaking show is going to top that. Something in this season is going to top freaking episode 5. But, yeah. So, maybe not. Who knows? Some people are saying episode 4 that did a review, they're saying episode 4 might be on par with episode 5 from last season, so we'll have to see. Also, apparently, the only thing that did get spoiled was that there's possibly going to be an end credit scene setting up something for the second half of the season, so we'll have to see what that is. But yeah, so that's the only thing I think got spoiled. But yeah, so really like this trailer, really got excited. That's why I hope, well, Disney, why don't you just send me the first 4 episodes? I want to watch the first 4 episodes now. I even tried finding a illegal way to watch it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so yeah, Disney, you can send me the first 4 episodes. I'll watch them. I'll review them. I won't spoil them. But, you know, and then I'll watch them again when they come on Disney Plus on the 1st. But, I don't know. But, so, yeah. We also see Nightcrawler fighting Exodus, which was also in the first trailer. We see Rogue trying to go through this portal that looks like Apocalypse's mouth. So we'll see that as well. So, you know, it's just, I just can't wait. It's super exciting to see it. And I think this trailer really got me even more wanting to watch frickin' season 2 already. Like, why can't they just drop it now? Why couldn't they just drop it, you know, Wednesday? This, you know, and in 2 days they could have dropped it then and frickin', so we don't have to wait till July 1st. But, yeah. Guess if they set their date for July 1st, they're gonna make people wait till July 1st. After making us wait for over a fucking year, but yeah. Anyway, because they were trying to rewrite stuff, and apparently somebody said in the review, I guess this ain't necessarily a spoiler, but somebody in the review, in one of their reviews, said that Bo DeMaio is still credited as one of the producers on the show, so I don't know. It's weird. If that's the case, are they still going to do the Onslaught? I still want to see Onslaught. Alright, so yeah. Let's talk about Trailer 1. Trailer 2 is just awesome. You know, it's just going to be great. Looks like Cable's growing a beard in season 2 as well, so that's going to be cool. But, you know, he also gave Storm, like, something to say, like the scene that everybody likes to talk about when they're showing her, like, looking like she's using the Phoenix Force, but it's just her controlling nature. And, you know, they give her one of her speeches, so it's one thing they've done with Storm in this show that they didn't do in the original show. Sometimes she'd have a speech, but she She didn't have speeches like she did in X-Men97 Season 1. And it looks like they're going to continue that in X-Men 97 Season 2. That's just awesome. It just looks amazing. Oh yeah, they show some other stuff that was in trailer 1 as well in that trailer, so yeah. But we'll have to wait and see because we got to wait till July 1st. Now it's like, what, 15 days away? 15 days is still too long. Anyway. I don't know, this month's flying by so fast, who knows. But trailer 1 just pretty much is showing off some story stuff, you know. Shows that Polaris is going to be the main focus of this season, it seems like. And then they also like showed the Exodus Nightcrawler fight, which I just talked about. Rogue talking about what's not waiting for her. Well, Rogue, you're the one who made the choice to take old fart Magneto over Gambit. I mean, come on now. She wanted the touch that Magneto could give her. So that's what she got. But look what happened. Gambit died. Now, although I will say, should have expected something with Gambit dying in that episode. When you first watch it, it's like, well, you know, seems like a normal episode until the second half of the episode, which is kind of like what they did with, which is what people are saying about episode 4, how like first half might be a little slow, but then when you get to the second half of the episode, it just goes balls to the wall. So we'll see. We'll have to see. I really want to freaking watch it. I want to watch it now. I want to freaking watch it now. But, no. Gotta freaking wait till July 1st. They also show Wolverine at the end of the trailer showing, "We're back, baby." But then in the beginning of the trailer, too, they show him saying that. So, yeah, but it just shows a lot. I can't wait to see this freaking... I can't wait. You know, freaking 15 days is too long. But anyway, so, yeah. The trailers were good. I like trailer 2 better because it gives us more of a ideal of what they're going to do in season 2 than what trailer 1 did. I mean, we still got the scene where Cable's sitting there watching the Sentinels fly by with his gun held like that. We see the Gene Cyclops and young Cable stuff going on in the past. We see, you know, Magneto, Rogue, and all them trying to get back into the future in both trailers, or back into the present. One thing I will say, seems like Xavier really has a prejudice against Apocalypse, because, you know, the first freaking time Apocalypse shows up in the original animated series, freaking Xavier talks about, "This is what I feared all my life, a mutant so driven mad by his freaking powers that he's freaking going super crazy," or something like that. I forgot what it was. And then, like, he says, "And this ain't like Magneto or the people that made the Sentinels. They could be reasoned with." I'm like, yeah. Maybe freaking Trask could be, but Gyrick wasn't freaking reasonable with. He freaking nearly killed Xavier at the end of the regular show. But, you know, when they showed that part where Apocalypse jumps down and he's running toward Magneto to get ready to fight him, which I can't wait to see that battle. That's going to be awesome. But when they show that part in the trailer and he's running toward him, he's got the drill, he's going to go after Magneto, he's going to whoop him. And it looks like Apocalypse was getting off on that. Like, he's about to kill somebody, so he's getting off on about to kill Magneto. You know, which, by the way, I think X-Men the Animated Series is really where the Apocalypse, well, I guess you could say Age of Apocalypse. But, you know, some people didn't read that comic at the time that X-Men the Animated Series was on. But you could say the Age of Apocalypse comics and then the freaking X-Men the Animated Series is kind of where the Apocalypse Magneto rivalry starts. Because when I get to talking about the Apocalypse episodes, I'll talk about, like, you know, X-Men Evolution and how Magneto felt about Apocalypse in that show and all that stuff. And then, like, we didn't get no interaction with them in Wolverine and the X-Men. But, yeah, so we see Apocalypse looks like he's getting off about ready to kill Magneto. He's like, his eyes are all wide, those big red eyes, and he's just like, oh, yes! I'll finally kill that motherfucker. Finally go kill that motherfucker, Magneto. Especially after he betrayed me in Beyond Good and Evil. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, by the time season 4 came out, yeah, and they got the Beyond Good and Evil, they were already on freaking Age of Apocalypse storyline. So, yeah. Looks like Apocalypse might get to kill Magneto. We'll have to wait and see. But you never know. Anyway, so yeah, that's the part that excited me the most. Apocalypse getting ready to fight Magneto. He's more of a, kind of like what they did with Sinister in last season, where he was like fighting the way he was fighting against Jean, even though Jean still beat him. But you know, yeah, they showed Apocalypse being different than what he was in the usually in the original cartoon. He just used brute force and just brute. Like the one episode was Obsession with frickin' Archangel, where frickin' Archangel, he's got Archangel in his hand. Cyclops goes and blasts him. He puts Archangel. I don't know if they meant that to be funny or not, but it was unintentionally funny. He just takes Archangel and just lets Cyclops blast him, and then not only that, he throws frickin' Archangel at the X-Men to make his escape. He's like, boop! He treated Archangel like a bitch in that episode. Anyway, but yeah, I'm excited. Cannot wait to see season 2. I wish they'd send it to me early so I can watch it, but they're not going to. Anyway. No. If I was a sellout channel that had like a bunch of subscribers, yeah, I probably would, but I don't know. Probably not. Anyway, even if it was a bigger YouTube channel, I don't think they'd send it to me. But anyway, let's get into Apocalypse episodes. I'm going to rank all the Apocalypse episodes from every cartoon. And we're going to start at the bottom. There's a new one on the bottom than what I had from the animated series. And that is the freaking Shades of Grey episode. Shades of Grey and Wolverine and the X-Men. That episode, you really don't see Apocalypse until the end of the episode, where Sinister comes up and says, oh, I got the genetic material we need, and then, you know, Apocalypse smiles, and like, yeah. Then this next episode is also from Wolverine and the X-Men, and that is the end of Foresight, episode 3. Foresight part 3. Where we see that, you know, the X-Men have won. They stopped the frickin' Days of Future Past. But now Apocalypse is ruling that future. Which is why I think they probably would have introduced Cable and Wolverine and the X-Men as well. And, you know, honestly, I hope Wolverine and the X-Men, when they frickin' finish X-Men97, hopefully they give us Wolverine and the X-Men Season 2, Season 3, Season 4 as well. Because, you know, that show was good. And it only got canceled because, one, Marvel was owned by Fox, or, you know, X-Men was owned by Fox and Marvel was owned by Disney. And, you know, they wanted to kind of distance themselves from X-Men. Also, they said financial problems or whatever. Well, if you look at some of the character designs in Wolverine and the X-Men, I don't know how it was so expensive. Some characters look generic, like Magneto. Kind of looks generic in that show. Apocalypse kind of looks generic in that show. They don't even give Apocalypse his red eyes in the freaking Wolverine and the X-Men. He's got normal eyes. And even X-Men Evolution freaking had Apocalypse, you know, with the red eyes. Well, when he put the Celestial stuff. But I will say, you know, those episodes, Shades of Grey and freaking Wolverine the X and Foresight Part 3, they were two of my favorite episodes. But as Apocalypse episodes, they suck because, like, we don't see Apocalypse to the end. And then at the end of Foresight, you know, they frickin' show, you know, the Age of Apocalypse is gonna happen. Also, I didn't like how Mr. Sinister looked in Wolverine and the X-Men. I thought they really screwed the pooch on Mr. Sinister and Wolverine and the X-Men. He got bad treatment in that show. Oh no, I think it was because it was kind of the aesthetic they were trying to go with that cartoon. But boy, at least the X-Men anime got it right. I'm not going to say Wolverine anime because that didn't get it right either. Wolverine did not look nothing like Wolverine in that. He looked like a frickin' skinny Japanese guy who had claws. But anyway. So yeah. The episodes are good, but as Apocalypse episodes, they are not, because, I mean, it is exciting to see that they were going to set up Apocalypse and Age of Apocalypse in Wolverine and the X-Men Season 2, but we never got to see that because, like I said, the show got canceled. Alright, so now, after those two, of course, I'm still sticking with Fifth Horseman as the frickin' worst Apocalypse episode from X-Men the Animated Series. Then I'll go with Sanctuary, because like Sanctuary, you see him at the beginning of episode 1 of Sanctuary, and then you see him at the end of episode 2 of Sanctuary. Now, again, those are good episodes, but they're not Apocalypse. They're not good Apocalypse episodes. And, yeah, he did appear in those episodes, so of course. Yeah. I'm going to say those two. Then next up, I'll go with Obsession, because it was only a one. No, actually, you know what? I'll go. I don't know, I might keep. I forgot how I ranked these last year, because I ranked all the animated series Apocalypse episodes. I'll go with Obsession. I'll keep it where it was. Obsession's a good episode, and like I said, I was just talking about the funny part where he's freaking using Archangel to let Cyclops blast him. Then he throws freaking Archangel at Cyclops. Treated him like a biatch. Alright, next up. This one's from X-Men Evolution. I'm going to go with Dark Horizon Part 1. Dark Horizon Part 2 will show up later in the list. But Dark Horizon Part 1, Apocalypse, they're trying to keep, him from being freed. But then we see that, that mainly focused on the X-Men trying to find where Apocalypse was heading. And them seeing the backstory. They did show in Sabanor in that one. That's why I said it's the first time in the animated series we see Apocalypse is in Sabanor. Because X-Men Evolution did it. And, honestly, if I had, we'll see how they do the Sabanor story in 97 Season 2. But, right now, I think X-Men Evolution did the Sabanor story pretty good. But they show who he was, how he was found by Raw, and then they show his rivalry with Rama Tut, who was a variant of Kang and all that stuff, so yeah. So Dark Horizon Part 1 is, up there. But that's X-Men Evolution. Alright, now let's go to the animated series. I'm going to go with Time Fugitive. Because mainly, even though Apocalypse is the villain in that, it's kind of about, Bishop and Cable trying to stop each other from, ruining one another's timelines. And, we don't even know it's Apocalypse until the end of the episode. Now, in Part 2, we do know it's Apocalypse because they revealed it in Part 1. But they kind of do a different telling in Part 2 of Time Fugitive, so, yeah. Alright, now next up is the first episode of Season 4 of X-Men Evolution. Now, this episode's a really good episode, but, the main focus is Magneto being upset that Apocalypse got free, and, Magneto wants to stop Apocalypse, but the X-Men's trying to, figure out what the freaking dome thing is around the pyramid that he put around it. And Magneto, at the end of the episode, he comes out there, he's freaking throwing stuff at the freaking thing, trying to provoke Apocalypse to just, you know, piss Apocalypse up. So Apocalypse comes up, and, you know, one-shots Magneto like, and, you know, I think it's funny because later on in the season they show freaking Pyro laughing at that. Like, wow, Pyro, you're a douchebag. Yeah, but he freaking kills Magneto. Then as he's going back into the pyramid, he looks over at Xavier like, yeah, motherfucker, you're next. You want to fuck with me? I'm the man. You're next, bitch. I mean, I really like that episode. I mean, it's just great. Now, the Magneto death gets undone at the end of Evolution. A few episodes later. I'll talk about that when I get to that episode, those episodes. Alright, next up, now, of course, next up is the frickin' cliffhanger ending of X-Men 97 Season 1, where frickin' Apocalypse is teased in the past and the present. We didn't see nothing about the future. All we see is Jean and Cyclops in the future, which I'm guessing Wolverine, Morph, and, you know, Storm are in the future with Jean and Cyclops as well. So, X-Men 97 Season 1 finale. Oh, man, I was freaking so excited. I feel like doing the Dr. Adler voice for, like, Apocalypse! 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 I've talked about my excitement for that episode for quite a bit. It's such a really good episode. Alright, next up there was an episode, I think, where they show at the beginning of one of the X-Men Evolution episodes, even though it's not focused on Apocalypse the whole episode, but they do show him setting up another pyramid, which all leads to the finale of X-Men Evolution, which I'll talk about in a minute, because I'll talk about how I like those episodes. Yeah, pretty good episode overall. And I don't know if that's the one with the Brotherhood, or if it's where the Brotherhood try to pretend like they're good guys, or it might be another one. I think it's the one with the Brotherhood try to act like the good guys, which that would be episode 2 of season 4. So yeah. All right, next up, let's get into Dark Horizon Part 2 from X-Men Evolution. I mean, oh man, that episode was just so freaking amazing. You know, they find Apocalypse at the tomb. They're trying to stop Mystique and Rogue for letting loose, but Mystique goes in, she puts her hand on the frickin' thing, and she like gets turned into a statue. Then Rogue's like right there by Apocalypse, because like they let him loose. And you see that Apocalypse is like old, and which they talked about in Dark Horizon Part 1 on why he was like in that state. He's really old, and he's like, you know. So he grabs Rogue, takes all the freaking powers out that she took from all the other mutants in the first part. And he gets up. Ooh, boy, I'll tell you what. This episode was really, really good. I love how they built up Apocalypse in this episode. I mean, they showed Apocalypse was a force of nature in this episode. He was a force of nature. He freaking gets up. He's starting to float away. Wolverine's like checking on Rogue. Then he tries to jump out. He just fucking one-shots Wolverine. And I love Wolverine. He's my favorite X-Men character. He gets blasted and he's like, ugh. Just sent Wolverine flying. And then he comes out. And you got the freaking rest of the X-Men, you got the Brotherhood, and you got Magneto's acolytes, along with Magneto and Xavier right there. He just freaking takes his hands, claps them like that, one-shots every last one of them, and knocks them all on their asses. I mean, the acolytes, Brotherhood, and the freaking X-Men got brutalized by Apocalypse in that episode. Then, as he gets onto the time ship thing to go to where he can, you know, start setting up these portals and that, or setting up these domes around these pyramids, Magneto tries to get another shot. He just goes boom, closes his hand and knocks Magneto for a loop. Ah, man, that episode is so good. I really love that. Those are my favorite. That's like my favorite X-Men Evolution episode. And he just fucking fucked up Magneto. And like I said, the episode I talked about earlier, first episode of season 4, which was the final season of Evolution. Not only did Magneto get killed in that episode, frickin' Mystique got killed too because she was a statue. Rogue pushed her off the frickin' thing when Nightcrawler was trying to convince her to let her loose to, free her, and Rogue just pushes her off and kills her because of how much Mystique's used her, betrayed her, and all that stuff. And, how she was treating, yeah, she killed her and Magneto gets killed in that episode. Woo! That is crazy. Very, very crazy. Alright. Now let's get to my favorite, my other favorite Apocalypse episodes from X-Men Evolution, which is Ascension Part 1 and Part 2. Really good. It starts out, Apocalypse goes and he puts another dome around another pyramid, and then he goes sets up his Sphinx at where his main headquarters is. And it starts out after that, we see Mesmero, who was like behind trying to free Apocalypse, which it started in like season 2. I think it was middle of season 2. They were starting that build to make Apocalypse the main villain of the, the overall final boss of the X-Men Evolution show. They already had Magneto numerous times. They had the Brotherhood and Acolytes introduced. They had the freaking, they had S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that stuff, and Hydra was in this show and that too. They had already revealed the Sentinels. They had Boulevard Trask make the Sentinels already. So that was like, what? The end of season 2 and then at the beginning of season 3. And then, like I said, it was all building up to the Apocalypse episodes. Because after they get the first half of season 1 out of the way, or the first half of season 3 out of the way, it goes into high gear toward Apocalypse coming back. And, so from the season 2, middle of season 2 all the way till the end of the show, they were building Apocalypse as the main villain. So anyway, in part 1 after that, we see Apocalypse go get the celestial frickin' stuff. The celestial armor and that. Also, Xavier and the X-Men find Mesmero and they frickin' interrogate him to find out what Apocalypse's plan is. Xavier finds out his plan and then he goes to talk to Apocalypse. He takes Storm with him. So, when they frickin' go there, Xavier, does something to get Apocalypse to come out and talk to him. And then, the X-Men are watching, and they see that Apocalypse got that celestial technology on him now. He's no longer looking like M. Sabanor, he's Apocalypse. And he's got the red eyes, which Wolverine and the X-Men did not do. They cheaped out on the red eyes. I mean, and if you look at X-Men the Animated Series, his freaking eyes were red every time you seen him in every episode. Did I talk about the Cure in that already? I don't know. I didn't talk about the Cure. The Cure and the Come of Apocalypse are also really good Apocalypse episodes too. So yeah. Anyway, I guess I could do those after this. But anyway, so then, Apocalypse comes out. He talks to Xavier. And, Xavier says, I know what you're planning. It's not going to work. Like, yada, yada, yada. And then Apocalypse says something else. And then he's like, your will be stopped. And Apocalypse is like, yeah, maybe, but it won't be by you. Lifts Xavier out of the chair with his powers. Storm's trying to save Xavier. He frickin' takes Storm too. And kills both of them. And then after that, the X-Men start their plan, but, Nick Fury goes to tell Wolverine and that, hey, we're going to send the Sentinels to take on Apocalypse. And by the way, when the Sentinels show up, Apocalypse does struggle with them for a second. And he gets up and just destroys the frickin' Sentinels. But Nick Fury tells him, well, it's a plan to, weaken the domes around the frickin', because they set the radars or something on the Sentinels to weaken the domes that Apocalypse is set up on the frickin', on the pyramids. So, Wolverine's like, well, what, alright, well, that's cool. We're gonna go stop Apocalypse. We need 4 teams. Because as the Sentinels are doing that, we see Xavier. Apocalypse senses it. Then we see Xavier Mystique, Magneto, Storm, all come out, and they are the freaking Four Horsemen of Apocalypse. So, if you count X-Men Evolution as a prequel show to the 90s cartoon, then the first generation of Apocalypse's freaking Four Horsemen in the animated world was not Archangel in them. It was freaking Xavier, Mystique, Storm, and freaking Magneto. I think they had. I think Xavier was the one that was the death one. Guessing the war one was Magneto. Pestilence was probably Mystique, and Famine was like Storm or something. Who knows? They never really say what they were as horsemen. They were just defending the pyramids. You know, and Apocalypse, you know, he's getting ready to turn all humans into mutants. So the X-Men started recruiting people. And as episode 1 ends, we see the 4 teams that are going to save the world all show up at the pyramids and the Sphinx. That's how it ends. Alright, they play the freaking Apocalypse theme, which, by the way, I love that freaking theme they had for Apocalypse throughout X-Men Evolution. I wish they would have had that for him in the animated series, but yeah. Maybe he'll have a theme in season 2. But, you know, it ends with the Apocalypse theme. Then we get to, you know, Apocalypse almost turns humanity into mutant. But, earlier in that season, there was a mutant that was introduced that could shut down people's powers. Which Wolverine sends, I think it's the episode where Spike, it's the episode where Spike trying to take a stand against humanity because he had left the X-Men and he went down with the Morlocks and all that stuff. But the kid shuts down all the mutants' powers. So what they do is they shut down the powers, and frickin' Rogue comes down to encounter Apocalypse. He grabs her, and then like she just frickin' shuts the frickin' thing on him that he was using to try to turn people into mutants. And then the time traveling thing comes up, and you know, Wolverine's like, Rogue, turn the power back on, because Rogue took the powers of that kid. Rogue turned the power back on, so Rogue turns the power back on. Wolverine scratches the top of the thing, and then he scratches the machine, and leads Apocalypse through time to where he ends up in, I'm guessing, Cable's future. So, yeah. Really good episode. It really showed how much of a force of nature Apocalypse was. But Dark Horizon Part 2 really showed how much of a force of nature he was. I mean, every episode that had Apocalypse, they just showed he was a force of nature. He was kicking everybody's ass. He didn't give a fuck who it was. He was taking down the Acolytes, taking down the X-Men, taking down the Brotherhood. They could not handle him. You know. Alright, so now let's get to, I guess, the first 2 Apocalypse episodes, which is The Cure and frickin' and The Come of Apocalypse, which were really good episodes, really good introductions to, you know, X-Men, the animated series. They showed how psychotic he is in those first 2 episodes, and it's just awesome. Oh yeah, but you know what I was saying about trailer 2 with X-Men, when Apocalypse is running to fight Magneto, before that happens, Xavier's like, you know, he's the most diabolical X-Men opponent ever, Apocalypse. Like, yeah, Xavier doesn't like Apocalypse, I guess. Called him the most diabolical, and then, you know, like I said, in these 2 episodes I'm talking about right now, The Cure and The Come of Apocalypse, he says, yeah, this is what I feared, a mutant so driven mad by his powers that he's willing to wipe out everybody. This is not a guy you can reason with, like Magneto and the people that created the Sentinels. Well, like, dude, are you sure about that? But I don't know. Oh, I mean, Gyrick did almost kill you. So, yeah. I guess Bastion could be reasoned with, too, because he doesn't even say nothing bad about Bastion when he, in x-men97 season 1, he's just like, I went to recruit him one time because he was a technopath, but his mom slammed the door on my face. That's about it. He didn't say nothing bad. He didn't say he's diabolical like Apocalypse or something. Like, yeah, he just told him, like, Apocalypse is diabolical. But yeah, man. So yeah, the first two episodes of Apocalypse are the second on my list. Then, of course, number one is still Beyond Good and Evil. I just love that freaking... I like the best arc in the X-Men anime series. And that show was really good. But I think that was the best arc in the anime series. Was freaking Beyond Good and Evil. And yeah, okay, well, did find out that, yeah, he finally beat Apocalypse and killed him. But Apocalypse came back. And then Bastion took Apocalypse's place in X-Men97 Season 1. I wouldn't be surprised if Apocalypse was still behind Genosha somehow. I'm pretty sure he put it in... Maybe Apocalypse put it in the freaking mind of Bastion to do that. Or he used Sinister to do it, because, you know, who knows? We'll have to see. Can't wait for Season 2, though. But, yeah, I'm excited about the trailers. I'm excited about Season 2. I just wish we didn't have to wait till July 1st. I want to see it right now. But, guess I'll have to wait. But anyway, let me know what you think of my ranking of all the Apocalypse episodes and all the X-Men cartoons. Let me know how excited you are for X-Men97 Season 2 for these trailers, and which trailer excited you the most. Was it trailer 1 or was it trailer 2 that excited you the most for X-Men97 Season 2? Let me know in the comments. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. Follow my Facebook fan page, The Mental Horn 83 Show. Follow my Facebook business page, Trigen Toys. And, Wednesday I'm going to have a Mortal Kombat video, because this is Mortal Kombat month, and I've only done like one Mortal Kombat video so far. Well, I did a playthrough last week. Friday I did a playthrough of Mortal Kombat Trilogy with Kitaro. Well, I started out having Shiva fighting frickin' Shao Kahn. And then I decided to beat Shao Kahn with, I think it was Smoke. And then I did another hill where I, you know, went all the way through with Kitaro until I got to frickin' Shao Kahn. And then I think that might have been with, I don't know. I gave up on the other one and had Smoke beat him in the second run. I don't know. But yeah, I've only done the review of the Mortal Kombat figures that I own because my son just got Johnny Cage and he's got Raiden. So, I don't know. I'm going to talk about what if Shinnok would have been the evil version of Raiden, like he was what Raiden was to the good guys in Mortal Kombat, and Shinnok was the guy that, you know, got all the bad guys together in Mortal Kombat. So that's what that video is going to be about this Friday, and it won't be as long as this one. But that'll do it. Catch you guys later, and apocalypse!